Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There are two things I want to talk to you about fairly briefly today. As you can see, there's new legislation in Northern Ireland relating to strangulation, a bit of a strange topic perhaps, but there's a couple of peculiarities about this legislation that I think is worth bringing to everybody's attention. And the other thing is changes to relationship and sexuality education regulations in Northern Ireland that are coming down the line, that I think all parents in Northern Ireland should be aware of and may want to find out more about. I will try to add some information into the description of the video with links and so on to help you look up some of these documents yourself. But if we start off with this, what is essentially legislation here. Now this relates to the changes that have been brought in specifically in relation to strangulation. So the actual act itself is the Justice, Sexual Offences and Trafficking Victims Act, Northern Ireland 2022. But if we scroll down to Schedule 4, I believe it is, you may have difficulty seeing this on your screen, particularly if you're not looking at it on a laptop or a TV. I will get there eventually. I've actually got a timer running because I'm limited to 15 minutes, and I think that should really be long enough. In fact, I'm going to just search for this term because it's the easier way to do it. Okay, so here we are. So the offence of non-fatal strangulation or asphyxiation, and that's all, defined there in terms of exactly what that means. Now, one thing that's perhaps a bit unusual to this legislation is essentially this part here, that whether or not it happens in Northern Ireland or in the UK, provided the person that has strangled or asphyxiated somebody else is a UK national or habitually resident in Northern Ireland, you will still be held to have committed an offence as if it had happened in Northern Ireland. So in other words, there are no geographical escape routes, if I can put it like that, for people from Northern Ireland. Let me just jump on to the PSNI website about it. So as you can see here and there, graphic, there's a potential sentence of up to 14 years in prison for non-fatal strangulation or asphyxiation. They refer to the same piece of legislation, and it's a specific criminal offence. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of detail on that, and as it says here, if you do anything that does or could restrict someone's breathing in any way, you should be prepared to face a prison sentence for this offence alone. And non-fatal strangulation includes any part of your body or another object such as ligature, like a scarf, belts, chokeholds, headlocks, hanging, drowning or smothering, and essentially even if there's no visible injury, you may well be prosecuted, and it talks about the emotional impact, trauma, and so on. And it basically seems as though this act is deemed to be particularly dangerous, irrespective of the context that it happens in, and I think that's why there has been the change to the legislation that there has been. Just at the bottom here it says that it's a complex offence and there's many different signs and symptoms, referring to the health implications, and there's another graphic which actually is here. So these are the sorts of things that might present if somebody is a victim of strangulation or asphyxiation. You can have a look at that yourself. Hit pause if you want to. I'm going to move on from that now to talk about the RSE issue, because this is to do with the Relationships and Sexuality Education Northern Ireland Amendment Regulations 2023. This document is from the House of Lords Secondary Legislation Scrutiny Committee, and if we scroll down, I think a few pages, we should get to the appropriate part of it, because they dealt with a couple of things all at once. Okay, here we are. So you can see Relationships and Sexuality Education Northern Ireland Amendment Regulations 2023, and essentially, if we take a quick run through, the regulations implement a commitment contained in primary legislation itself deriving from a recommendation of a UN committee. This is a controversial area of policy, they admit, as a number of submissions we have received, including from diverse religious denominations, make clear. The regulations allow parents to withdraw their children from sexuality education, but the Northern Ireland office cannot guarantee that the necessary procedures for this will be in place by the policy implementation date of the 1st of January 2024. We understand that the ability to withdraw children will be an important protection for parents in Northern Ireland, and we would be concerned if it were not available from the outset. So a bit of a shot across the bows of the NIO from the House of Lords there. They have brought the regulations into force immediately under the guise of allowing the Department for Education as much time as possible to prepare for the delivery of the education, and considering these points together, the House of Lords is concerned that the implementation schedule may be rushed. I suppose if we just read the bold, really that's the main part of it. When taken alongside the other concerns on timing, the House may wish to press the Minister to bring forward the necessary legislation to push back the implementation date. This could allow time for a public consultation and would ensure the policy can be fully developed. These regulations are drawn to the special attention of the House on the ground that there appear to be inadequacies in the consultation process which relates to the instrument. Okay, now if you are able to see it, you'll notice that there is this abbreviation CEDAW. That's the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, and essentially it's this CEDAW report which found that young people in Northern Ireland were denied the education necessary to enjoy their sexual and reproductive health and rights, and suggested that it was due to the influence of both Catholic and Protestant church representatives in school management. interpret that how you will. Personally, that looks to me like a bit of an attack, quite frankly, on religious bodies. But irrespective, I plan on doing a separate video to examine what was actually contained in this report, and what they said and why they said it. You can see a bit here about what they've talked about, but there's been various submissions and so on. The committee have looked at various bits and pieces, and there was a bit of a debate. There's been an explanatory memorandum, and all in all, as you can see at the bottom here, it says questions remain about how this key aspect of the legislation will be implemented, and there's a lot of stuff that is remaining outstanding, and in fact, I mean, that there is really little clarity in this whole thing. As you can see again here, it's striking that full public consultations were carried out when comparable regulations were introduced in England, and when similarly controversial regulations on abortion were introduced in Northern Ireland. There is actually a public consultation that has just been launched here, and it is on the Executive Office website, and I highly encourage everyone to have a look at the public consultation and to respond to it. So I've got 2.5 minutes left before I have to end this. It has gone unbelievably quickly, but yeah, have a look at that, and please go down to the bottom there. There's a bit here about more information. Presumably that is where you actually go to respond. So there's various documents there, and visit the online consultation page to share your views. Okay, so that is how you get to it there. There's the online survey. Okay, so guys, please make sure that you go ahead and you complete the survey. Now bear in mind, when they refer to gender, they may be referring to it with a particular agenda in mind, and you should respond appropriately as you see fit. Guys, I'm out of time, but I will include links in the comments to the video. Thank you for watching, and if you find this of interest, it may be worthwhile subscribing to the channel, because I anticipate there will be more content coming in the near future. Please also have a look at the playlist on RSE, which is also on the channel here. Thanks for watching, guys, and you'll probably hear more from me soon.